about common grief responses among teens, it's first just important to acknowledge that there's a whole range of responses, that there is no right or wrong way to grieve. It's just how a person is coping in that moment. That's true for children, it's true for adults, and it's definitely true for teens as well. Teens are all unique individuals, and how they express and manage their grief can vary based on numerous factors. It could be related to their age, their race, their gender, their peer relationships, their family situation. All of these things can really shift how they manage their grief and how safe they share to express different pieces of it. It's very typical soon after the death to experience a certain amount of numbness. And again, this is true for all ages, but also for teens, and it can show up in different ways in teens. So, for example, they might really bury their heads in their schoolwork and double down on being able to keep on top of their academics. Or they might really jump into their sports teams and make sure not to miss a single game and to be right there for every winning shot. Whatever it is that helps them cope, sometimes it's their way of distancing from the emotions surrounding the grief and finding something that can really help them to manage all that's happening in their life, to feel even a small amount of control over a situation that ultimately has not been at all in their control and can be really, really challenging to manage. Some teens might also do the opposite. They might cut back on their activities. They might be more selective about what time they spend with friends. They might kind of curl up at home and spend some time alone thinking. Either response is fine. It's how they manage it, as long as there's a balance, as long as they're still able to maintain day by day and keep some form of connections to others as a type of support for themselves. Some teens also might want to compartmentalize different parts of their life. So to help them manage all that's happening, they might feel like, school needs to be my safe zone. When I'm in school, I'm focusing on school, and that is my purpose. And they might not bring the grief and what's happening with their family into that particular environment. And they might show up a completely different way when they return home. This is actually a really healthy skill of helping them to find a way to manage all of the pieces of what's happening in their life and carry forward. Teens are actually highly empathetic and aware of others' responses and how they're managing. They might not always show it at home and to their parents and caregivers because they're taking care of themselves and they're protecting their own independence. But rest assured, they are very aware of what's happening in their family and how their family members are managing everything. Because of that, they sometimes might not come to their immediate family members with how they're feeling. They might not want to share fully openly about all of the emotions and how they're managing all of it, because it can be really vulnerable to approach a parent or caregiver. They also are really aware that their family members are also grappling with all of the sadness and anger and different pieces that might be coming up for them. And sometimes they can be a little bit protective and worry that if they share how they're struggling, that parent or caregiver is also going to struggle as well. This actually is a way of managing and a way of recognizing their relationships. Over time, this might change. How they handle this in the immediate, right after the death, might change over time, and they might become more comfortable approaching their family members. Adults overall should recognize that as long as teens are continuing to function day by day, continuing to have the motivation to get up, to go to school, to carry on with the activities that are most important to them, and again, recognizing that can sometimes change for them. It might not be what was important in the past, but as long as they have some of those healthy things in place to wrap around them, that the parent or caregiver can trust that they are managing.